impossible to share your pain. You understand that? So when you go into these things to fit in your friends, understand that you will be alone. Many people have been inducted into these things because they are celebrating. I heard one story from a very renowned athlete. He was one of the speakers at another event. We were talking about drugs. And he was representing one of our countries. He had gone there as an Olympiad. It was the first time. He was 18, I think. And he had done so well in this particular sport that he was in. And they were in one of those European countries. So the rest of the squad took him and said, hey, my boy, now you have made it, because he got one of the medals. And he got money. He had never had so much money. $200,000 or something. He had never seen so much money. They told him, let's go and celebrate. That's what he tells in his story. So he says they went to celebrate. And when they were celebrating, they told him, you are going to feel even nice if you just take this. They gave him a small pill. He says it was so small, he didn't think that such a small thing could have such an impact. So he took that small pill. That was the beginning of the end. When he was talking to us, he had been dropped from the Olympic team for 5 years, and he says, I've been to so many rehabs, I never believed that just taking one pill at a party would devastate me like that. He lost his medals, he lost everything, and he had to start training again. 5 years later, he was just in the countries, and that was somebody who was in the Olympic with an Olympic gold medal. You understand? One pill. Celebrating. That's how people sometimes get started. Some of us, they say that, we want to feel confident. It's very amazing and amusing to see somebody who has taken some drug, like somebody who is drunk. I've seen it in high school. The boy who comes in and he's walking like he cannot really control himself, and he's talking with a little bit of a sly stand, and he thinks he's strong. The girls are laughing, but he says, you know what, I'm the man. Can you see how good I am? You cannot be confident when you are drunk. You don't even know what you are doing. So you cannot have your confidence bottled up in something that sparkles. That is not confidence, it's something else. I've heard people saying that, I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her off, so I'm going to take some courage. And they take a bit of beer because they're trying to give themselves courage to go and talk. Basically, what that does is it dulls your frontal lobe, and it makes you not reason correctly. It makes you not afraid. That is why people think beer is courage, because once you've taken it, your senses and your ability to reason properly goes down. Since you cannot reason properly, you tell yourself you are that good, when you actually are not that good. What you are is that foolish, so foolish that you take a risk like that one. So that's the reason that people go into these things. Parents and friends, avoid getting caught in any one of those. Try to find strategies to get out of any one of those. I promised you that I'm talking about a few things touching here and there. It's my last day. I don't have any more days. Did you know that shopping can be an addiction? We call them shopaholic. You know the one that drink alcohol, we call them alcoholic. These ones are shopaholic. And it's exactly the same pathway. When this person feels sad, they go out and they buy anything that they can find, and then they feel much better. They go home, they put it in the wardrobe. If they're in advanced countries, they can go and return it tomorrow. In most places, you can't return it. Now, children acquire, especially girls, they acquire this from a very young age. Sometimes they say it's retail therapy. When you feel like, no, I'm feeling down, you go to the mall. A lot of young girls, when they are feeling down, they are feeling unhappy, they go to the malls. Right now, you are just going to the malls to hang with friends. Some of you are going to eventually find money and eventually find the pleasure of a new pair of shoes, the pleasure of a new dress. After a while, it's not longer the pleasure of that. It's the high that you get from just going and you remember the relaxing? You feel like you are more relaxed when you have gone shopping. The trouble with that is, in no time at all, you are going to start buying with money you don't have. You are going to open all the accounts. I know a number of people, young people. You may not know. You know, some of these adults, they have got problems. Try to avoid those. You open their purse, is this big. You think they have money or cards. They have cards for every shop. Ladies, you know that? Yeah, you have a card for every shop. This is Woolworths, this is Checkers, this is, you name it. They have cards for every shop because they are indebted to those. When the salary comes, it's all drawn from source. They never even see a single cent coming to them. You wonder why there's no food in the house. How can there be food when mommy has to shop? So shopping, you need to watch that one. We have had many families that are breaking because of the shopping. So that is something that you have got to recognize as an addiction. If you are finding yourself buying more than you can store, buying more than you need, and needing to buy, and whenever you see the sign S-A-L-E, you think it's your first name. They are calling you. You know that sign? S-A-L-E. My first name. And then every shop seems to have your name on it, and they are running everywhere because sale here, sale there, it is your name. It's not your name. You are not called sale. Don't answer when they say sale. That's not your name. Then we have gambling. Even in the Adventist church, we have had families that are breaking. We have had people committing suicide. And you know when gambling starts? At betting. It starts as a very innocent thing. Sometimes with kids, you are just playing the dice in here, or you are playing cards. That's why Mrs. White explicitly discourages us from gaming, even these game halls of playing cards. And I've had pathfinders come to ask me, Auntie, why is it that we are not supposed to play cards? Why is it that we are not supposed to play dice? It's because in them you acquire the appetite and the joy of winning for a prize. After a while, you just want one more. You just want one more. And we have that. Nowadays, you have the state lotteries. Many countries, you know them, yeah? The lottos and the like. You put a little bit of money, you scratch. And so many of us are addicted to this that we like to gain something. You come to a shop and say, okay, if you scratch here, we'll give you so much. We are into this mood of something for nothing. We are into this mood of instant riches. Nowadays, you can even go online and you can gamble on at the hotels and the like. Yes, that is part of it. But even these little ones, they gamble, they don't even know it. Because every time you are going to put some money in a slot and you turn something and then some money falls out, you have started gambling. So many people start at this very young age. By the time they become adults, they don't realize that they've been gambling a lot. The trouble with it is, of course, like everything else, is addictive. Of course, like everything else, you develop that pathway. Remember the science we had? Now you get that feeling, that adrenaline rush, that dopamine rush when you are winning, when the coins are dropping like that. Yay! After a while, you want to keep going there for the yay every day. Before you know of it, there is no house, there is no car, because you've gambled them away. Remember that gambling is not built for your benefit. The owner of the shop is running a business. The owner of the lotto, the hotel manager, is running a business. So any statistics will tell you that in as much as you hear of the one person who won a million people lost more millions. For every million that you get in a newspaper that somebody has won, believe you me, there are other millions that were gained by that company. They are in it for a business. They are not in it to give money away. Nobody gives money away. Would you give money away? Let's see the hands of those who want to give money away. Oh, there's nobody. If you are not willing to give money away, what makes you think somebody on the other side, somebody in the computer, somebody that you are not seeing is trying to give you money? What makes you think they are your friends? They are not your friends. They want your money too. So don't get hooked into this kind of thing. It is not good for you. It's an addictive thing. Now let's talk a little bit about the drugs. We have got two types of drugs. Well, there are many types, but today I want to look at two types. We have what you call legal drugs or prescription, the ones that are being given by health professionals. And then we've got the illegal ones, the ones that are generally controlled. I call them legal and prescription drugs that we are looking at. Now, let's look at prescription drugs. Can you get addicted to that? We have a huge problem nowadays with the prescription drugs. Prescription drugs that are addictive. In fact, right now I'm working on a research paper for Botswana, Zambia, and South Africa, where we are actually looking at the level of addiction that we are having to prescription drugs in those three countries. It's so much, it's scary. The psychoactive drugs, like your sleeping pills, because somebody gives you something, say, oh, I'm so stressed, and you just want something to relax. After a while, you can't sleep without the pill. After a while, you were taking 2, now you are taking 6, and before you know it, you need a whole packet for you to be able to fall asleep. Now, when you come to that stage, you are having a problem. We know that people who have got addiction for prescription drugs, you know them by starting to change a doctor. Dr. So-and-so is refusing to give me this, and this is the only pill that can help me. The only one that takes away my pain. We have many children that are addicted. We have our parents who unfortunately maybe are uninformed, but they give babies very strong drugs, and then the baby becomes very irritable. You'll see a video shortly that will say the names of some of the drugs that you may not recognize. You may recognize, I'm sorry. Children, we have got kids that are very noisy and hyperactive in class. Unfortunately, there are people out there who have got it into their heads that a child has to sit still all the time. And they give them some of these drugs, and then the children get addicted to the drugs. So, addiction is very real from the prescription. Then we have got this one, and Adventists. We have so many Adventists that are hooked onto this one from all ages. And so when the mother is addicted to it, by and large, they give the children the drink. Herbs. Herbs, there are many herbs that are psychoactive, and psychoactive means they act on your brain. And because they act on your brain, they do exactly the same thing that I've said. They go in there, they stimulate the site, they release the dopamine, and you feel good. Just as the person who is drinking alcohol feels good from the stimulation. Just as the person who is watching pornography feels good from the stimulation. I told you the cycle is only one, but it can be stimulated from all senses. So we've got herbs. Some of the herbs or plant-based things that you know, and Adventists of today are refusing to accept that Mrs. White was a prophet who was shown these things a long time ago. We call them coffee. You know coffee, Adventists? That's one of the addictive substances that Adventists are into it, unfortunately. There was a time that Adventists were not drinking that. But it is as addictive as anything. And it's a herb, it's a plant, it comes from plants, it's very pure, it's natural. But it was meant for something else other than sitting there and stimulating you to feel good every day. We have got tea. Adventists were at one point renowned for drinking their bush tea, which does not have theine, a substance like caffeine. But nowadays, we have figured out that when you count the roses, they've got to be how many? You understand. So we start drinking all those teas, and those teas are stimulants. And you hear somebody by 10 o'clock when they're in divine service going outside, and I've seen them going outside to take this cup because, hey, my sister, I didn't take anything this morning. Yes, you didn't. It's called a drug. That's why you have to leave the sermon on to go and take the cup. And then we give it to these small ones. You should see an addicted kid. I once saw a kid. He couldn't have been about 4 or 5. He was crying and he was carrying the cup. So I asked him, what is with the cup? He said, oh, he wants tea. I said, he refuses milk. He only rests when you have drunk tea. I said, oh, poor mother. She doesn't know that she's got an addict living in the house. You understand? These stuff are addictive. Of course, we talked about tobacco. For the record, tobacco is a plant. It's a herb. So just because it's called a herb does not mean it cannot have harmful effects. They do have very good effects, but one of them is not being smoked or coming into your body. Marijuana, indeed it's a herb. As the video I showed the other day says, indeed it has got some medicinal values. There are a lot of positive things, but there are also many, many more negative things that are in it. So just because you call it a herb, don't think when we are saying drugs We just mean the ones that are coming from the pharmacy. Addiction in drugs can also include these kinds of things that you have here.
Xanax and Roxanol are all prescription drugs.
Can give you prescription drugs because they will monitor what is happening with you. Stop sharing medicine. Stop feeling like, oh, I was having this headache. Compral, Panado, whatever is not helping me. I've got something better. Do not drink other people's medicines. I know it's very noisy at camp. Do not let them give you the little thing that they drink, the little herb they got from the lady at the corner that helps them to go to sleep. It's called a drug. You cannot be taking those drugs because they are bad for you. Say no. Just say no to these things. Why must you say no, young people, pathfinders? You must say no because these things cause addictions. And addictions are a tough master. When you are addicted, you have to do everything and anything that this master is calling for you to do. You must say no because these things, believe you me, lead to death. Premature death. And in between your addiction and your death, you've got to start being honest with yourself. And go to your family members. Be honest with them and tell them, I think I have a problem. Confession is one of the best things that you can do when you are dealing with drugs. The last but one issue I'm looking at, gaming. Parents may not know this, but my little friends know it. We have two major types of games. You know the standard ones that you buy them, there are videos and they're playing, and he's alone, he's trying to find the lost princess in the castle, or he's trying to stack up stuff, or he's trying to use Pac-Man, this man eating things and passing by. You know, they just seem to be playing there. By the way, those two can be addictive. The addiction in there comes out from him always wanting to go to the next level. Now I'm at 1,000. Now I must be at 2,000. But those ones, the addiction propensity is a little bit lower because they are playing alone. They are built for playing alone. Then you have got these other ones, online multiplayer games. They play them on the Xbox. You probably have found them coming and say, Mommy, buy me a Nintendo, buy me an Xbox, all these things, because they want to be online, to play with other people online. When you get to those online games, they also have got different kinds, and I don't have the time to go through them. But by and large, you've got the kind that makes you the single, they call it the first shooter, whereby they show you all sorts of bad guys, and you've got to be shooting like that. And the more you kill, the better. The trouble with that, a lot of research has shown that a lot of those games, for one thing, they teach violence. Most of them are actually very violent. It's about killing, it's about bumping cars, it's about exploding stuff and the like. Most of them, the kids will tell you, no, I've got the safe one or two. More than 90% of them have got swear words. They've got bad language inside. So they have got a lot of subliminal messages that goes in there. But that's not even the issue of that. What causes the video games to be addictive? The online ones especially. We have got many cases now of children that are addicted. And their addiction signs, they come out the same way. The self-neglect, the not eating, the not doing the schoolwork, all the things we just discussed for alcohol, for drugs. An addict is an addict. And they look the same. The pathway is the same. The difference is what has addicted them. Why? Because the brain is the same and the root of addiction is the same. You trigger that thing, you get the dopamine, the body, and then there's self-neglect, there's spending money on the stuff, there's not eating, all those things, they then follow the same pattern. And then there's the aggression, there's the change of behavior. It doesn't matter what it is that has triggered them. They will end up the same. Games do exactly that same thing. And they are addictive because they were meant to be addictive. Don't forget the person who builds the game. He makes money, young people, by you coming to play. Yes, you are playing because you are having fun. But the person needs more and more players.
BUC, Botswana Union Conference. We are from GUS Pathfinder Club. We are here to have fun. And we are taking it.
Okay, my name is Bianca. I'm from the Botswana Union Conference. We're in Pretoria, enjoying the camp. It's so very nice. It's very nice, yeah.
Making sure that the kids are being fed nicely. I'm the super chef around here. Yeah.
Hello, this is La Rochelle SDA Church. We are the children from La Rochelle here. We came to this camp to take it. We are taking it. Pass it on. Identity, mission, and leadership. Pass it on.
I like this camp, and I like the video from Botswana. I liked it, yeah. And I like this camp, it's really nice. And I want to come again. And yeah, thank you.
So my name is Lindo Guhle Malimela, and you'll see us around the campsite recording season 2 of Teen Gospel Live. Right now I'm with director Rawlings Moyo, asking more about Malawi and finding out more about Malawi. It's going to be great fun. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Busum Tia, Teen Gospel Live producer. Teen Gospel Live is all about equipping teens to grow in Christ, develop an understanding of His will, and actually, at the end of the day, commit their lives to Jesus. We are here at the 3rd annual SID Camporee. We are shooting what we call a reality documentary show, where we're all about, where we teach all about different segments, different honors, different activities. Obviously, having interviews with people that are from different countries, getting to know a little bit more about their countries, what their countries are all about, what they eat, how they speak. They're teaching us different languages. So we are actually having so much fun. So this is behind the scenes. We are about to record a segment with people from Malawi.
We're doing makeup behind the scenes for Teen Gospel Live, and our next guest is Muera.
From Botswana, Fakalani Church, Seventh-day Adventist.
Why God is good. Thank you.
Today we're learning a song in Shona. It's about I'm not afraid of the gospel, and we're having fun here. Yeah.
I find is a universal language. Just love it, embrace it, and enjoy every single moment of this camporee.
How many days was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the lion's den for?
Okay, I don't really know.
You want to try?
Yes. For 3 days.
Mfundis, we're going about today just engaging with the...
SHETH.
Thank you. Let me ask you one more question. Another question. Can you please say after me? Harry Larry ate a lollipop.
Harry. What?
Harry Larry ate a yellow lollipop. Harry Larry ate a yellow lollipop.
Harry Larry ate a yellow lollipop. Harry Larry ate a yellow lollipop.
How many days was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the lion's den?
Like Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego were like for 40 days.
40 days in the lion's den. Okay, and tell us, how do you spell Mephibosheth?
Mephibosheth is MEPHIBESH.
How many days was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the lion's den for?
In the lion's den for it's just 3 days.
Okay, and the last one. Can you please spell Mephibosheth for me?
Mephibosheth, it's Mephibosheth, MEDOPHAOSEONO.
Okay. How many days was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the lion's den?
This is a very, very easy question for me to answer, madam. Yes, madam. Yes.
Can you give me the answer?
You want me? How many days?
How many days?
Did who?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the lion's den?
According to the Bible did not give us days.
They didn't.
No, they said they were thrown into the den in the fierce fire.
How do you spell Mephibosheth?
Yo. Mephibosheth what?
Mephibosheth.
Maphibosheth.
So, Pathfinders, if you think that you have a better question from the Bible to ask me, write it down, give it to the guy under the tent in the media, and I'll answer all of them unprepared on the last day. Key, can you please spell Isaiah for me?
Isiah.
Okay, can I give you another one? All right, spell Mephibosheth for me.
What?
Mephibosheth.
Mephiboshetth.
And that's it from our third day of the Camporee. Let's not forget that this is an international Camporee. So let's make international friends that we will stay connected with even when we leave. That's it for this evening. Have a good evening and see you tomorrow.
Self-image and all those problems that come out of that. Now you may ask, so what? I'm watching sex, so what? So you are going to have a warped up conception about what is sexual relation. You are going to fail to realize that sex in itself involves the highest level of human feeling and vulnerability. Because on pornography, all that is cheapened. Feelings are not there. You have to have a relationship that has got a mutual relationship, a relationship of trust and nurturing, long-term relationship. Does the Bible say anything about pornography? Probably it's just fine. Do you know what Jesus said? Guess what? Matthew 5 verse 28, Jesus says, "But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart." Does that sound like somebody watching pornography? Of course. Why else are you watching it? And Jesus himself said that. It is wrong. Even in the Bible, it is wrong. As I'm closing on my last day with you, I just want to leave you with these things here. Paul says, someone will say, I'm allowed to do anything. Yes, but not everything is good for you. I could say that I'm allowed to do anything, but I'm not going to let anything make me its slave. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 12. Go and read it. The Bible is against us allowing ourselves to be addicted to stuff.
Science demonstrates that there's something special about the Adventist lifestyle and subculture that translates into a longer, fuller life.
Just in T-shirt, it says, why don't you try Jesus? So I want to invite you, if you are somebody who is sitting there struggling with peer pressure, struggling with addictions, struggling with a child that you don't know what to do and you want to try Jesus, I would like you to stand up as we give you a very special prayer through Pastor Ngwaru. Can we, if that is your desire, that you would like to try Jesus because you are struggling with any one of these things, or you, especially you parents, you are having somebody who is struggling with that, children, some of you I know are having parents that are struggling with this. We can give you all this information.